What's up guys, my name is Kai, I'm the Nerd of Strength, and I'm probably the last person to put up predictions for the 2025 World's Strongest Man heats, but it is what it is. Now, normally I'd probably be on my way to the event to watch World's Strongest Man live and in person, but this is the first time post-COVID that I actually won't be attending. Listen, things happen, that's life. Work's just gotten really busy, and truth be told, I really just did not want to go back to Sacramento. I went in 2022, it was okay, but I just didn't want to go back to that location. Plus, with the removal of the rest day, being the Friday, and the VIP tickets for fans, I was just less likely inclined to go. So I will be checking the spreadsheet parties and frantically looking for live streams online just like everybody else. But that doesn't mean that I still can't give my predictions or what's going to happen in the heats. So this year, instead of 30 athletes, we have 25. So we'll have 5 groups of 5 guys. And they'll all be doing the same events, but this year it has been changed significantly. So instead of guys maybe sandbagging or taking it a bit easy in the heats and being on cruise control into the finals, everybody's going to have to work hard because the points will basically hold over into the finals. Well, not necessarily hold over, but they will be kind of reconstituted when going into the finals. So the higher you place and the more points you score, which should be constituted over all 25 athletes, will help your scoring and your placing and your start position in the finals. So it'll actually be way more interesting this year, and instead of seeing guys maybe like kind of give up after the first or second event, everybody's gonna really have to try this year. And also, there's no stone off, so we're getting into the right direction. I'm actually kind of bummed at the last moment that I'm not going. Up until maybe the last month or so, I wasn't really that hyped for World's Strongest Man, but the way that they have changed the events and the points is a step in the right direction and makes me kind of regret not going, only a little bit though. Truthfully, there are some things that still needs to be worked on, but one step at a time. My hope is that unfortunately it won't happen this year, but maybe next year we will get 2 wild cards into the finals, making the finals go from 10 men to 12. But with that all out of the way, let's run through the groups and the events. So like I said before, all the groups will be doing the same events. However, the order of which they do the events will be different for every group. That way, Group 1's not always going first for each event. Terry Hollins actually popped into the Strongman Reddit and kind of explained to us how the groups are going to be going to switch it up, so nobody really has an advantage necessarily in every event. So, for example, on Event 1, Group 1 will go first, so that'll go in order, Group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we get to event number 2, it'll be Group 3 will go first, and then maybe 1, and then 5, then 2, then 4, and so on and so forth. So it'll be kind of randomized, so not one group is truly always going first, and Group 5 is always going last and getting advantage over everybody else. So for Group 1, we have Austin Andrade, Thomas Evans, Yaku Schoonwinkle, Tom Stoltman, and Eddie Williams. And the events that we have the load medley, the deadlift, the overhead medley, the Titans toss, and the stones of the world. Out of the gate, it's very easy to say that Tom's going to advance to the finals, which, I mean, why would you doubt him? This is Tom's show. And yeah, I was pretty high on Tom at the Arnold's, and he did disappoint, but I'm not going to hedge my bets against Tom during World's Strongest Man. Seeing the videos of the guys already in Sacramento, Tom is big, Tom is confident, he's ready. So, of course, he's going to do his thing, get into the finals, and he's going to want to maximize as many points as possible to give himself an advantage during said finals. No doubt, Tom will be one of the heavier guys in his group, but over the years, Tom can still move, so there's no way that he's not going to do well on the loading medley. It seems his hip problem has actually improved a lot since last year and the Arnold's, and now that he's working with Shane Germain from MST, I am so excited to see that partnership, into fruition. And he's going to dominate the deadlift. Overhead medley again. I've seen some videos from the Boneyard in Sacramento, and Tom just like picks things up super easy and just presses overhead like nothing. Titans toss, he has the height, he has the advantage, he has the arm span. We don't call him the Albatross for nothing. And of course we have the stone medley. Stones are Tom's thing. I don't see why he wouldn't do well on that. Honestly, bold prediction, I think he can actually win all 5 events in his group. Outside of Tom, who do I think takes that second place spot? Well, Eddie Williams is coming on the up and up. However, in this group of guys, he's still a weaker deadlifter. Not saying that he's a bad deadlifter. Looking back at last year, in his heat, he actually did complete all 5 bars on the deadlift ladder. But in this group of guys, he'll probably be on the lower end of the deadlift, which will cost him points. And his pressing's still not the best, especially not in this group, where I think he will lose points. Yaku, is good to see him back at World's Strongest Man. He doesn't get as many opportunities to compete outside of Africa. I do hope he gets invited to a Giant Slide later in the year to get some more experience. But coming back off of a sickness at his Giant Slide that he did last year, I hope he does a lot better. He didn't make the stone off last year. This year, though, there's no stone off. Pressing, I'm curious about. Because the last 2 times that he was at Worlds, he unfortunately injured his ACL on the Max Circus dumbbell in 2023. And just because of where he's located and mostly working on the farm, I'm not sure that he necessarily has access to properly train, say, a stone medley. Watching his stuff on Instagram, he's mostly worked with sandbags, and sandbags are a lot different from actually working with stones. And again, seeing the stones in the boneyard, a lot of these guys are going to be in for a shock. So I think that'll also be a disadvantage for Yaku. Actually, I think for all of the groups, the stone medley is going to get a lot of guys. There might be a lot of people who zero it, in all honesty. Those block presses look thick and brutal, and I'm excited for it. Too bad there's no live stream, you know? And if anybody has a live stream, send it to your girl, because, you know, I've been helping people out for 4 years. I would sure like to see some clips this weekend. But anyway, I digress. Back to Heat 1. Thomas Evans. He did pretty well last year. Somebody who has been at the Big Four. He was doing very well at the beginning half of the Rogue Invitational, but then kind of petered out by the end of it last year, and he was nursing some injuries. Hopefully he's back at 100% again. He's a big, thick guy. I think he has the ability to do very well on the stone medley, or at least definitely sneak points over guys like Eddie Williams and Jaco Schoonwinkel. Great deadlifter, decently fast. He could definitely be in contention for that second place. I do think he'll probably end up more likely in the 3rd or 4th, battling that out with Yaku. I think Austin will be the guy who ends up going to the finals with Tom. Remember, he was a finalist last year, did very well, very good at the deadlift. People think because he's a big guy he can't move. He can. He actually did end up losing I think 20-30 pounds in preparation for this year's Worlds. So he's looking a bit leaner. His body composition looks a lot better. So hopefully that'll work with him. I think Austin's disadvantage will be the Titans toss. Watching the Texas Boys YouTube channel, it doesn't seem like it's his best event, but I think he'll surprise a couple people in the stone medley, and that should help him. Again, that stone medley will be very vital and crucial points for a lot of guys. Moving on to group number 2, we have Wes Derwinski, Patty Haynes, Mitchell Hooper, Bryce Johnson, Matt Ragg. This is a tough group. In fact, they're all tough groups. I think personally group 3 is the group of death, but group 2 is also a pretty hard group. All guys I want to see advance to the finals. And also, why do we have the Canadians not spread out? 4 Canadians and they're put together in, groups together. That's dumb. But I digress. Despite everything that's happening right now, you can't bet against Hooper. Of course he's cocky. He's confident coming into Worlds. There's no way he's going to make a mistake in the heat system. And you know what? He's a smart guy. Usually he's somebody who, like last year where he made deals with Andre in the heats, to sneak points this year, he's going to have to work. And with this group of guys, he definitely can't take his foot off the gas, just like Tom. But Super Hooper, lol, I don't think that's a tall task for him. And like Tom, I can see him totally like almost winning every event in the group. Plausible, but the guys behind him are hungry. People are very up on Patty right now. Patty the dark horse. I'm also very high on Patty, but of course everybody knows that Patty's not that great of a presser, but everything else will be really good. He's going to have to work his ass off in all the other events. But of course, ending up in groups of 5 instead of groups of 6, a lot less points to play with, so you got to be careful about where you lose them. One of the lighter, quicker guys, light on his feet, very good at deadlifting. Like I said, overhead's the thing that's going to get him. I think that block press is going to be very nasty for Patty. Titans toss, very good tosser as well. And with the stone medley, and with there being a carry, that's practically written for Patty, you know. Especially after watching his Who's carry at Europe's Strongest Man, I have no doubt that he can go very far with the carry in the stone medley. But again, it's that overhead that's going to get him. And this is a group with decent pressers. Wes Dowinski, again, decently good at loading. Same with deadlift. Overhead, so, but better than Patty. Titans toss, very good at tossing. And the stone medley, I don't see Wes having a problem with the stone medley. He was a later call-up. He honestly should not have been. But I don't see him having too much of a problem with the stone medley. It's the overhead that I'm just curious about. Then we have Bryce Johnson and Matt Ragg. Now, Bryce came second at OSG last year, right behind Nick Guardione. He's a big guy. He's like 6'5". I don't know too much about him, but what I do know is that I'm pretty sure he's coached by JF. And in the last couple of years, if you guys have noticed, JF's boys, like, you know, ending up in the finals on debut. So I don't think Bryce is somebody you should sleep on. I'm very curious to see what he can do. I know he's a good deadlifter. I believe just looking at, he doesn't have too many competitions on Strongman Archive, but pressing might be the thing that's might be a bit of a weakness. However, I still think he could probably at least get like the first implement in the overhead, where Patty might struggle. Bryce can probably get that, and that'll be, again, an important point. Bigger guy, but not like big in the belly, so I don't see him having too much problems with, say, something like the stone medley. And again, he has the height. He did pretty good at the sandbag toss at OSG, so I don't see him having a problem with Titans toss. So, be very interesting to see what he will do there. And I think like he's going to mess up some guys in his heat. Same with Matt Ragg, former OSG podium, 4th place last year. He's the guy who I predict will be getting into the finals with Hooper. Now again, not the best overhead pressure, but still stronger than Patty. Maybe stronger than Bryce. I believe he is stronger than Wes in pressing though. During his off season, Ragg has been working hard. He's been dieting down. He cut a good amount of weight. It seems like he has more mobility in his shoulders. He's working with MST as well. So I'm curious to see how much his pressing has improved, and I really hope it has, because it'll be more important in the finals, honestly. But again, here, super important. Not the quickest, but in the other events, I still think he can also do pretty well. And I'm just super curious. Like I said, I know a lot of people are high on Patty. I would just say with this group of guys, maybe not this year, maybe next year for Patty. So, in my head, Hooper and Matt Ragg will be advancing to the finals. Moving on to Group 3, we have Shane Flowers, Lucas Hatton, Mateusz Kieliszkowski, Evans Nana, Ryan O'Neill, and man, this is my group of death. This is the group that a lot of people didn't want to see combined, because we all wanted to see Lucas, Mateusz, and Rhino in the finals, and one of those three ain't gonna make the finals. And honestly, doing my write-up before I press record on this is the one that I've left blank for almost 48 hours, and honestly, it's still only has one spot filled of who I think is going to get to the finals. So, you know, to peel back behind the curtains, I'm filming this on Wednesday afternoon. We've already seen videos from some of the guys in Sacramento testing out the equipment. You know, they're in the boneyard, you know, touching implements and whatnot. And also, like, you know, some guys are still posting, like, their final days before they flew out to Sacramento. Matheus posted one this morning where he was quite frank and honest that if he knew what the final events were in advance, he probably would not have accepted the invitation. And that he didn't necessarily feel ready. And that sucks to hear as a Matheus fan. But if he says he's not that confident, not that ready, you know, you can only do with that information what you can. I'm very high on Matheus. I always want to see him do well in competitions. I want to see him make the finals. Honestly, in 2023, the biggest shock was Matheus not making the finals. Could that happen here? Probably. And I hate saying it, and you know, you can play me in the comments, and I would love to be wrong, but I don't think Matheus is going to make the finals. I'm sorry, and I hate to say that. Again, a couple of days ago, before Matheus posted a video, before Lucas posted a video, I thought Lucas wasn't going to make the finals. Just because he was recovering from COVID, but he says he's fine now. And hell, I think, like, post-COVID, he hit that 600, you know, behind the neck jerk, so that doesn't matter anyway. So yeah. I'm scared for this group. Matheus skipped the Arnolds, but did the Siberian Power Show, and he won that. So he had, you know, he got third at Europe's Strongest Man. So this isn't like Worlds' first competition this year. So he's gotten the cobwebs out. But still, after all this time, Matheus is on the weaker deadlift side, and that's going to be very bad in a group like this. I have no doubt that he's going to do very well in things like the loading, the stone medley, and the overhead medley, but that deadlift, I don't know. Also, sandbags used to be very good for him, but because he's coming off, like, what, Achilles injuries, multiple Achilles injuries, I don't know. I doubt he's going to do bad at it, but you have guys like Shane Flowers in your group who's phenomenal at bags. He's going to take points away from Matheus, and that's not going to be good. It's like a reverse Paddy situation. One bad event, this being the deadlift for Matheus, could be very bad for him and ruin his chance of getting in the finals. Man, this is so hard. Seriously. A couple of days ago, I had Shane and Reno as the guys who I thought were going to go to the finals, but now I'm just like, it's going to be Lucas and somebody else. Shane's not bad at deadlift. He's not bad at loading. He's phenomenal at sandbags. His overhead's been looking great on Insta. But again, going to the boneyard and actually touching the implements, I don't doubt that Shane can get the overhead. It's just about timing, because it's a timed event. Rain O'Neill, that mythical strongman that I've heard great things about, but I have seen no competition footage of. And I'm going purely off of Strongman Archives, because where the hell do you watch Strongman Champions League? I don't know. There's old seasons are on Peacock. New stuff, I don't know. So, you know, I want to believe the hype of Ryan O'Neill. His numbers look very good on paper, but being at a competition of this size and the timing of events and everything, and just the time zone change and everything for him, I'm so curious how he's going to do. I don't know. Shot in the dark. And you know what? I'm saying it to bait people in the comments. I'm going to say Lucas and Shane advance to the finals. I'm sorry, Matheus. I really am. And you know what? And I will be wrong. Guarantee I'll probably be wrong come the finals. But after watching the video he put out this morning where he didn't sound too confident, and I hate that Matheus is not that confident in himself, I'm going to say Shane advances to the finals. Moving on to Group 4, after that torturous Group 3, we have Maxime Boudreau, Andre Fouitou, Tristan Hope, Trey Mitchell, and Luke Richardson. This is a hard group to follow, Group 3. I feel bad for Andre, man. The Millennium Kid in a group with 4 former finalists. One of them was a podium finisher. That's nerve-wracking. Hell, and the other one's his mentor, his trainer, his coach. It's gonna be interesting. But you know what I will say? Dude's young. This year, you can't make deals. You absolutely can't make deals. It don't matter who you're in a group with. Fuck everybody. You gotta do what you gotta do to get into the finals, Andre. I'm high on him. I want to see him in the finals because I want to see what he could BTN, because he has the junior log lift record. I want to see what this kid could put up overhead. But before we get to that, we gotta go through the heats. After a so-so performance at Worlds last year, Trey has been on the up and up since. He's been killing it at things like the Arnold's, at the World Tour Finals. So he is back on form. While he's not the fastest loader, he is a phenomenal deadlifter, great overhead presser. He is the new age Texas Stone Man, so I don't see why he would have any problems with the Stone Medley. The only thing I think is his sandbags. Not saying that they're bad. It's just, something that in this group of guys, there are guys who could take points off him in that event. But I don't see Trey having any problems actually getting to the finals, which will be good. He'll be back to where he belongs in the finals. Speaking of another guy who is going on the up and up, Luke Richardson. This will be Richardson's first World's Strongest Man since 2021, where he got injured in the first event. At this point, since his comeback, since injury after injury after injury, and comeback after comeback after comeback, I think Luke is in a great place now. He looks confident in videos that he's posted recently. I don't see Luke having a problem. I still, even though after like a year and a half, I watch through my fingers because I'm terrified of what's going to happen. But I believe that he'll stay together in one piece and he can also make it to the finals. Again, phenomenal deadlifter, great overhead presser, decent at sandbag. I'm curious to see how far he's going to push himself on the Stone Medley. Just because he's had, dodgy biceps, dodgy hamstrings, things like that. But he's going to need to push. So, I don't see why he wouldn't. Sandbags, again, might be the only thing which is like, some points will be taken off of him. And the person who's going to be taking all those points on the sandbag are probably going to be Maxime Boudreau. Now, he got injured during the Arnold's. It is what it is. But he did earn his spot to be here at Worlds. I hope he can put himself together. He's been training. His training looks like he's been going well. But, of course, weaker deadlifter. It is what it is. He's going to lose points on the deadlift. But he's fast in loading. Great overhead presser. I believe he had a lat injury, was what it was at the Arnold's on the frame. I'm pretty sure it was his lat, so that might affect his overhead pressing a tad. So we'll see what happens on that. Hopefully the Wolverine stays in one piece. And again, phenomenal sandbag tosser, and we'll see what he can do on the Stone Medley. He is a previous Magnus Classic winner. I don't see why he couldn't do well on the Stone Medley. Another guy who did well at the Magnus Classic was Tristan Hope. Another guy who ended up in the finals on his debut last year. But I do believe that Tristan will have an uphill battle this year. Last year, he got to the finals, winning his group, didn't have to do the stone off. Not too bad. This year, though, with this group of guys, I don't see him making the finals, unfortunately, just because his deadlift has improved, but in this group of guys, there are better pressers than him. So that'll be where he loses points. decent at sandbags, but I think there's good sandbag tossers in this group that might get points over him. And again, another guy who's done the Madness Classic who has experience with natural stones and the stones of the world. So I'm curious to see how he's going to do on that. But overall, I still think it's going to be Trey and Luke Richardson that are going to get to the finals in Group 4. And lastly, we have Group 5 with Andrew Flynn, Nick Guardian, Pablo Kodiaka, Evan Singleton, and Luke Stoltman. Now, a lot of people are saying that this is the easier group, or it's like, lol, Luke Stoltman got an easy group, and I don't think that's fair to the athletes in that group at all. Outside of Evan, Evan's a beast of his own, but the other guys in that group have rightfully earned their spots at Worlds. You know, Pablo is a previous Europe's Strongest Man winner, 2-time finalist. You know, Nick Guardian won OSG. Andy Flynn surprised a lot of people, ended up on the podium at Britain's Strongest Man. So I don't think that is going to be a cakewalk for either Luke or Evan. And they're still going to have to work just like everybody else in every other group. Last year, Evan got on the podium. But then after Worlds, he was on a downshift. Was it due to injuries? Was it all mental? I'm still not necessarily sure, and that sucked. But when he's at Worlds, you can tell how much this means to him and how badly he wants it. And, you know, last year he did show a more reserved side to himself while at Worlds. Hopefully, again, he brings that to Worlds this year. So I don't see Evan having a problem in the heats. Fast guy. Even at his size, fast guy, very good at loading, great at deadlifts. I know that he's had a bit of issues with his suits and getting a new suit. Hopefully that's been sorted and, you know, everything will work out on the day. Sandbag toss is, since we're going for distance, I can see Evan doing fairly well in this event. And he's also decent at things like, you know, decent at stones. Again, I'm just worried about the way Evan moves around and shakes about so much, especially when, you know, shouldering things. Hopefully he lays off the caffeine or whatever. But I don't see Evan having a problem with these events. You know, originally when I looked at this group, I actually had Pablo going into the finals over Luke Stoltman. But again, watching all the videos of the guys down in Sacramento, Luke slimmed down a lot. Dude has, like, visible abs now. He's looking faster. He's looking much better than that he did at Europe's this year because he pulled out after a couple events. So, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard between the two of them. Pablo's deadlift has improved over the past couple of months. So, that could be a huge advantage for him. And that'll definitely help him. That'll definitely help him jump guys like Andrew Flynn and Nick Guardian in the deadlift. And those will be important, valuable points. Who will be the better deadlifter on the day, Pablo or Luke? We'll find out on, Thursday, Friday. Both great pressers. However, that is a chunky looking stone block that they're going to have to press. Even though Luke is slimmed down, Luke seems to have a sturdier base, and he looked like he got a better grip when they were testing it out, popping it up to his chest. So, I think that might be valuable points for Luke. Now in the sandbag toss, Pablo looks to be the better tosser of the two. I believe Colin mentioned it in his interview with Liz, that he was training a heavier bag over a further distance. So I'll be curious to see how that translates over to the event itself. I actually heard that they've made the distances a bit further for the Titans toss, actually. So that might work in Pablo's advantage, which again could be very important points. Andrew Flynn and Nick Guardian are lighter guys. And Andy Flynn, fast guy. I don't see him having any problems on the load. The deadlift in this group, on this advantage of a stage, he might falter a bit. And I'm not trying to be down on Andy. I think, this will be his first year, get his feet wet, come back next year, he'll have more experience, which will be good. I think he'd do well at things like the Titans toss. But when it comes to overhead pressing, just from watching back things like England's Strongest Man and the Ultimate Strongman series and UK Strongest Man, pressing doesn't seem to be like his best event, and he's going to lose points on that. Shouldering. He's very good at shouldering, but with sandbags, so I'm curious to see how that's going to translate over to the stones. But they have like this stone that's almost like tic-tac shaped, almost like the long Cerberus bag, so that could work in Andy's advantage. It also could work to Nick's advantage. The best shot of Nick Guardione is when he was at the Arnold Amateur shouldering the, I believe it was 400-pound bag and doing the bicep flex while shouldering the bag. So that could work very well in Nick's favor too. Decently fast guy. Decent deadlift. I think he'll get points over Andrew Flynn. Again, Pablo has improved his deadlift, so he'll probably end up bottom tier on that event still. Sorry, Nick. His sandbag tosses have looked better than Austin's in training, so that'll be good for him. Overhead press, one of his weaker events. But in the stone medley, I think he'll be pretty decent at that. I think these three guys will be taking points off of Luke. Not so much Evan. I think Evan is a league above the others. But end of the day, I do think Evan and Luke will be advancing to the finals. Sorry, Pablo. And I do just want to say that I believe after World's Strongest Man, Pablo is going to get knee surgery and probably is going to be out for like the later half of the season. I'm pretty sure he said that in one of his stories in the past couple of weeks. So he's either going to go balls to the walls and like YOLO and like try to do whatever he can to get to finals. We'll see. But I just I just think I really do think that Luke just looked a bit sturdier on the overhead medley, and the stones of the world. That might be the thing that gets him to the finals over Pablo. So, throughout all my ramblings, let's just go over who I think is going to advance. So from Group 1, it's going to be Tom Stoltman and Austin Andrade. From Group 2, it's going to be Mitchell Hooper and Matt Ragg. From Group 3, because I'm an asshole, I'm going to say Lucas Hatton and Shane Flowers. Group 4, Trey Mitchell and Luke Richardson. And Group 5, I'm going to say Evan Singleton and Luke Stoltman. Tell me down below in the comments who do you think is going to make a finals. Tell me, am I crazy, especially for saying maybe Shane Flowers over Ryan O'Neal or Mateusz Kieliszkowski? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you agree. Let me know in the comments down below. Let's all have a great spreadsheet party since we won't be there live. I'll be amongst the internet people searching frantically for any clips and for any morsel of video that I can see. The events will be taking place in Old Sacramento. It's more a Western theme. Like I said, I went in 2022. It was cool. But did I feel the need to go back to Sacramento? No. Sacramento's expensive. It was okay. But if you are going, you'll probably have a lovely time. Meet some people, make some new friends, take some pictures with Strongman, and bring your sunscreen. It won't be as blisteringly hot as it was in 2022. It's looking like it's a nice, decent 80, 82 degrees. But bring your sunscreen, stay hydrated, smile, and have fun while you're there in the show. And we do have times for the events. They have been modified. These are all in Pacific Standard Time, but tomorrow, Thursday the 15th, the loading medley starts at 10 a.m., the deadlift will be at 2 p.m., and the overhead medley will be at 5 p.m. On Friday, May 16th, we're going to have the Titans toss at 10 a.m., and the stone medley at 2 p.m. And then on Saturday the 17th, the first day of the finals, we're going to have the knack carry and hoist at 10 a.m. Then we're going to have the max 18-inch deadlift at 1 p.m. and the Hercules hold at 4 p.m. And on Sunday, we're going to have the max Flintstone barbell at 10 a.m. and the Atlas stones at 2:30. And then the award ceremony should be around 3:30. Like I said, can't watch it live, unfortunately, so you're going to have to check Instagram, search Reddit, or High and Low, wherever you can find clips before they get taken down. Watch Liz and Law's, spreadsheet party. Just hang out and hope for the best. Tell me who you think is going to win, and hopefully, my work schedule is a bit out of control, but hopefully I can make a video of predictions for the finals. Thank you guys for watching my rambles and sticking with me. My name is Kai. I'm the Nerd of Strength. Have a great day.